We're always
I
laughing when
love.
we start.
I know
Hi,
because we're just so silly.
it's us.
Hello. We are live here in. Well, I'm in Washington.
And
It's still
Missouri.
sunny, and yours isn't sun. It's not sunny there still, is it?
We got a little pop-up thunderstorm tonight. Yes, it's still daylight outside though. It's been staying light really long, like until like 9 o'clock.
I know
So
it's getting there. It's getting to be summertime.
yeah, we're almost
So I'm
on the
excited
longest
about that.
days or longest
We still.
day.
Yeah. What day is the longest day? Is
I
that
think it's
in June?
21st. Yeah,
That's the spring. That's the summer. Whatever
equinox. Yeah.
equinox. Yeah, that thing. Um, it's still been really rainy here. So we're still having chillier weather. I don't think it's going to get in the 70s. It did get in the 70s once so far this month, but I don't think it's going to get back in the 70s until July.
Oh my gosh, I think like Tuesday, like today it was only 73, but like and it's been in the 80s pretty consistently, but like Tuesday it's going to be like 100.
Oh,
We're about to get steamy.
yeah.
Yeah.
The one time I ever went to Missouri, I went to St. Louis, and it was steamy. I
Yeah. The
I've
humidity
never
is stupid.
I've never felt humidity like that before because it was so stagnant. Like it just felt
It's
heavy.
oppressive. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, horrible. I mean, wonderful to visit your beautiful state.
Uh, honestly, yeah. It's all I've ever known, but I have been to states where it's not like that and I'm like, "Oh, this is nice. Why do I live where I live?"
Yeah.
Because my family's here.
Yeah. Well, that's important too.
Yeah.
Let's see. So, Mom says, "Yay, good to see you
Hey,
all." Now
Jess,
she's making noise.
what up? Always love reading all her insights in the Discord. Like she gives us like this sweet little recap and like yeah, I love it.
I've told I've
I
told her
appreciate it so much.
I'm like you've also got to ask questions though and be a little more interactive.
No,
She's
no.
like,
She just like leads the way. Like
well, she's usually the first person to respond to
I
comment in all the
know.
channels too.
I know.
So
I
she's
think
always
it's
like,
great.
well, I don't know what to say because nobody else has commented in there yet. So Mom is our little summarizer. Yeah.
Hi Magda.
Let's see. Hi, Magda.
Oh, I
Hey,
gotta
Leanna. Welcome.
hi. There we go.
1000s, please. Right. Oh, 100 degrees right now in 100 degrees plus right now in San Jose area. That's just
Oh,
BS.
yeah.
And that's not normal for the Bay Area. So, especially not this early in the
Oh,
year.
Jean's here. Hi, Jean.
Hey, Jean. I'm glad you made it this time. I'm glad we got the right time for
On
you.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. So, let's see.
All this time zone stuff is very confusing.
It can be. It can be a real. And just so everybody knows, we are waiting a few more minutes for Paige. She's just running a teeny bit late, but she will be right with us.
So if we act
And
like we're stalling, we are.
we are.
Cheers.
Go
We're,
grab a drink.
we're drinking wine in honor of Matthew tonight.
Yep.
Yeah.
We wanted to make sure we honored our beloved, our
Our
friendly
favorite
beloved
vampire.
vampires. Yeah.
There she is. Hey.
We were just talking about how we're drinking wine in honor of Matthew. So
Oh, Ash is making me a tea.
Yeah, it's early in the day
nice.
for her still.
Yeah, it is.
Also, I don't drink alcohol at all, so.
And there's that.
Yeah. Oh. Sorry, I have little fruit flies. We have to put the vinegar out because these little fruit flies are driving me nuts. So if you see me like waving around, I'm not trying to do a spell. I'm trying to get rid of fruit flies because they're attracted to my wine.
I want to be
dance.
Diana. Thank you.
Oh, Ash, you are just a
Ash is a
man among
sweetheart.
men.
He is a man among men.
Everybody say hi to Ash.
Hi, Ash.
Hi, Ash.
Everyone
Big fan.
saying hi. Oh, big fan.
We're all big fans. Oh. You got a winner there, Paige. You got a winner there.
For sure.
I do.
For sure.
It's supposed to rain all weekend for Jean. Yeah, it's going to be raining most of the weekend here too. So I get it.
Sounds
Me
like a good
three.
chance to read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got rain also, Paige?
Yeah, I've got potentially snow.
Oh my goodness.
That's fun.
Mm.
Nothing like snow in June.
That's pretty normal for you. Or is it
Yeah.
June? Is June early for winter there for snow?
Last
Yeah.
year, like
Okay.
literally yesterday, it was the heaviest snowfall Orange had seen in like 20 years.
Wow.
But doesn't look like it's going to be the same this year. So we'll see.
Okay. Fingers crossed.
Crazy.
Unless you want a lot of snow.
I
Yeah,
like snow.
I do
It's
too.
fun to dance in.
It is fun to dance in.
Like
Uh,
I like jumped. I was wearing my hiking boots and would like stomp through it and like just
oh, that's
dance
so
around it.
fun.
And then you have Ash who weighs nothing and is like skating on the top of it rather than.
I love it. It's like just gentle on top of the snow.
Yeah.
Mom's drinking blackberry wine in honor of Matthew. So Matthew's got his tribute today.
Yeah, for sure.
We are here to talk
We're here.
about Shadow of Night. This
Let's
is
do it.
the second book in the All Souls series, and wow, what a change compared to the first book, meaning like the whole tone of everything. And what were your guys' thoughts and reviews so far? Who wants to start?
I mean, I think for me, like, I think it's still just a 4 stars for me. I think some of that has to do with like the pacing, I guess. But yeah, like I I really enjoy it. It's just kind of one that's kind of nice to just sit with. I don't
Mhm.
mind. I don't mind just kind of being in the story.
Not powering through.
Right.
Yeah.
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 There's no powering through.
How'd your powering go, Paige?
I did it. I finished at like
That's amazing. Good job.
midnight this morning.
Wow.
And then I decided to
Wow.
read 50 pages of The Psalm for the Wild Built. I was like,
Of
I
the
should go to
what?
bed. Becky Chambers, A Psalm for the Wild Built. It's her
Okay.
little novellas about a teen monk and a robot.
It sounds really cute.
Nice.
It's so wholesome and like it's 150 pages.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know it was that short.
They're novellas, yeah. They're expensive because they're novellas, but that's fine. I've got it from the library. But yeah, I was like, I need to go to bed. I have to get up in like 8 hours to go do this thing for my grandpa. And then
Oh wow.
I got out of bed at 8:30 and I was there by 9.
How many hours of sleep did you get?
Yeah, the 8. It's 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
That's
6,
pretty
7,
good.
8. Yeah, 8.
Okay, that's good. But then
Yeah.
you were rushing basically to get.
Yeah.
I'm always like
Oh,
good to get 6. I can cope on 6 or function on 6.
I can function. I just don't wake up.
I'm just not my best self. Yeah.
I didn't set my alarm this morning, so I woke up at 9:30. Yeah.
Better nice.
That's so nice.
Mhm.
You were
Yeah.
also up kind of late though, weren't you?
I was because I was finishing this.
Yeah.
So I was up till 12 something, 12:30, 12:40 finishing this. So I was doing exactly what you did, Paige.
Because you messaged me being like, I'm going to crash now after I'd said, I'm so proud of you for finishing. And then I'm like, what's the time? Looked at it. It was after midnight. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Yeah, I was exhausted. I was so exhausted because I don't know why, but I guess because usually I can stay up that late. But last night I was feeling really tired. I wanted to make sure I could have worked on it a little bit today, but I also had that big project, which I told Danielle that I submitted it right before coming on here. So I am officially complete, done
She's
with the
amazing.
term.
Yay!
Oh! What? 48-hour readathon. Let's go.
Woo! Yeah, I know. So I'm excited about that. Although I think I'm just going to do 16 and 48 hours, 8 hours each day because I have some things I need to do this weekend. So, but at least it's participating, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What is everybody else's? Oh wait, we haven't finished that, have we? Paige, what's your rating?
I am going to give it a 4.5. Like, I really enjoyed it, but there were just more moments this time that I was like, why? Stop. Don't. I feel like the characters did a 180, and I wasn't a fan of the 180.
Mhm.
And then we're in a historical setting, which doesn't hinder my enjoyment of it, but I liked the academic setting more. And so when we're put in a setting that I'm like, this is cool, but like, where are the books?
Mhm. Oh,
And it
yes,
was
because
just,
you want to.
yeah,
You wanted
it was
the
a shift
library
in
book setting.
tone. And I was just like, oh, I'm not vibing this as much. I'm not in as love with it
Mhm.
as the first one. But still
Okay.
fantastic. Loved the reading experience, just
Yeah.
not on that top tier level.
Yeah. I'm gonna say. I was gonna say 4.75. I wasn't going to. I do say 4 point. I'm sorry. I guess the wine's already getting to me.
Oh gosh.
I'm gonna say 4.75 stars because I didn't love this one as much as the first one, but I did love it a lot. And
Yeah.
that historical setting for me was perfection, and the way that Deborah Harkness did it was perfection. Like I just was so beyond impressed with her ability to make 1591 feel realistic, and including all these amazing famous characters that she intertwined with the story so well, and it didn't feel cartoonish. Like it actually felt like you could genuinely be there, and
Yeah.
all these people felt real. And I thought that was really clever, which shows how much research she's done. But I wasn't happy with the first third. I didn't hate it. I just was frustrated with the way the characters are behaving, and
Yes.
I was frustrated with the characters that we were introduced to at first. Like at first, I was not vibing with them as much as I wanted to, and then it picked up as we went
And
along.
because we had such a solid friendship group in the first one with Marcus and all of that. And
Yeah.
then for it to not be them, it's like, you
Mm-hmm.
guys aren't the same. You're not as good. You is
I know.
misogynistic.
I was
fuckwit.
so thankful that she did that, the thing where we got to, every once in a while got to catch up with the
Yeah.
characters from the last book. I
Yes.
was very thankful for that.
Yeah.
What?
I
Stop.
agree. It
Yeah.
was great. And I agree though that especially in the very beginning, and not only did we not have the friendship group we loved from the first book, but this new friendship group was toxic for Matthew in the very beginning. Like they were really toxic for him for a
Yeah.
good portion of the first part of the book. And so it took a while to want to like them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also don't know who the fuck most of them were.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean that makes a difference. That does make a difference for sure.
Yeah, like I appreciated the telescope thing. Have no idea who the fuck she was referencing.
Yeah, and that I think that makes it difficult to enjoy the historical elements as much as I didn't know who all the people were, but I knew who they pertained to, or I had an idea of who they were. I maybe not have known all their backstory and everything like that, but I had a very good idea who these people were. And there was this element of like, tee hee hee, these are these people that are real, like look at how she's incorporated into the
I
story.
didn't really have that either, Paige. Like I just knew them for who we learned, who we learned about them as being in the book, and kind of just took it as that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I could see how it wouldn't be as fun if you didn't have that connection, that like that I don't want to say pop culture because it's not pop culture, but it's historical pop culture references,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
I knew Shakespeare. That was the one
Right.
that I did know.
I know. I just saw that one too.
she's okay. So Magda says I'm enjoying it, but 4 stars as well. Thank you, Leanna. Yep, 4 stars for Mom. I think Mom gave it a 5 star, at least closer to a 5 star. So she's saying 4 star, but she's lying to you. Thought the whole thing could have just happened in London and they didn't need the multiple. Oh, I love the multiple places. I have to disagree on that one, Jean. I loved going to Prague. I loved going to, yeah, I'm sorry. Love you, Jean, but don't feel the same.
That's okay.
Huh?
I said that's okay.
Oh, Leanna hasn't read the series, but wanted to hear the discussion. Okay, well, will be spoilery, just so you know. But like a different author at times, it was a very different tone for sure. But Jean gave it 4.75. Mom is teasing poor Paige. and Mom's old, so she knew most of them.
Like, I recognize the names, like Sir Walter Raleigh and, like,
Mhm.
Christopher Marlowe and, Shakespeare and stuff like that. Like, I recognize the names, but, like, I couldn't yeah. No.
Like in the beginning when they were talking about the Roanoke colony and how like they knew people that had gone who were part of the Roanoke colony and who were missing right now. It's just like those little things, those little details were so freaking clever because she treated them like in conversation that people are talking about these huge historical events and people in the story are talking about them like they're just, like
Right.
they don't
Well, like
know that it's
happening.
going to
What
become.
happened
Yeah.
yesterday. Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
which I thought was so clever. I thought that was really
Yeah.
brilliant.
for sure.
But yeah, so okay, enough about that. What do you I'm starting to sweat now.
Oh my gosh, no more wine for Amy. You're done.
Cheers.
I did like Mary.
I loved Mary Sydney. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I loved that she, we kinda got to go to her laboratory with her, and
Her poor shoes.
oh my
Mm.
I was obsessed with the shoes. Like I said in the Discord, like, I was obsessed with the shoes even before the shoes became alive. Like, I just was like, "Oh, these shoes sound fantastic." Like, yeah, and then they came alive, and then they were even more fantastic.
Oh yeah. I wanted to see most of the clothing, which makes me really want to go back and watch the show at some
I
point
was
so that I can,
fascinated with the clothing. Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
thought that was really fun because it sounded fascinating and some of it just sounded so elaborate that it sounded ridiculous, which I guess was probably
Oh
the
my
point at
gosh.
that time.
Yeah.
Um, I ended up loving almost all the characters in this except obviously Kit, and I didn't like
It was
Lucia, his
awful.
sister. Um,
Oh, she was. Oh,
horrible. Yeah,
oh, Jesus.
but Felipe, like, I loved him as much as Isabeau. Like, I really absolutely fell in love with him. What do
Yeah,
you
I
guys
was
think of?
I was trying to, like, picture him, because the way she described him, he was just, like, really something to look at, and I was just like, "Man, I don't know." I never really could get, like, a clear picture of him in my head, but, like, I don't
You
know.
know who he looked like in my head?
Who?
He looked like King Triton,
Like King Triton. That's
the
good
Little
stuff.
Mermaid. That's what he looked like in my head.
I could
I don't
understand that.
know. Because like, didn't she kind of, like, compare him to, like, a lion or something? I don't know. I pictured him,
Yeah,
like, very, like, golden-y, like
yeah, that's what I get from King Triton. So that's, but yeah,
maybe like a yeah,
I mean, he
I
was
don't know.
described as looking like a great god, so I don't think
yeah.
the actor in the show does him justice.
Oh, who is the actor in the show?
I
Just his
don't know.
name.
I just
Oh, I
googled
I
it.
didn't pay attention to that.
I just
Discovery
googled it.
of Witches. What is his name? Felipe. Oh, I mean, I like that actor, but that doesn't look like
Oh my
what.
gosh.
Not at
Who
all.
is it?
It's,
I need to
what
look
is
it up
his
too.
name? Um, what is his name? It's not saying anything, of course, because. Oh, there we go. IMDb. James Purefoy.
What else has he been in?
What else have I seen him in? I've seen him in other things, but I just can't remember at the moment
Let's have a
what
look.
I've seen him in. James Purefoy. James, let me just look him up. Whew. Just trying to cool down a little bit. Oh yeah, he was in. I remember him most from Rome. That's what it was. Rome. I absolutely loved Rome, which was another historical show on HBO. And
Does that have?
he played Marcus Aurelius, I think. Not Marcus
Oh
Aurelius. He
my gosh,
played
that is not what I pictured him to look like at all. No,
he
no, 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 no,
played
no, no.
who did he play? Not Marcus Aurelius, but he played
No.
Mark and Tony.
yes, thank you. Mark Anthony. Anthony, whatever his name is. So I loved him in that show. Absolutely loved him. And but he's not at all what I would have thought for Felipe.
No.
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 Interesting though. He's a good actor though, so I'd be curious to see how he performs it. I need to watch that show at some point, but it's not easy to get here. It's not like on all the normal channels. It's on like Sundance or you have to pay for it on Prime. So I haven't figured out how to do that yet.
I was looking on Prime to see like what it would take to purchase it, or like at least purchase like the first season or something. But
yeah, well,
I didn't do it.
Yeah, well, let's see. I like James Purefoy in The Following as a serial killer. Oh, okay. Yeah, he's a good actor. Like he can play really interesting characters. So maybe he does it justice when you actually watch him performing Felipe. I don't know. He's a very cocky actor. Like he can play that cocky role really well. So, what'd you guys think? Well, you haven't quite got there, Danielle, but you've read about it. About Diana's father showing up.
Oh, yeah.
I loved that. That was so cute.
It was like incredible, and it was so wonderful to see. I mean, it was so awesome that Matthew got to spend time with his dad, who was dead before, who was dead.
Yeah.
And then it was really nice to have Diana have that same connection with her father. And I really loved it because I loved how her father was basically like, dudes, Matthew, Diana, you're too freaking serious about this. You're too serious about everything. Like, live a little. Let your life be happy. Let your life be fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he helped her figure out her magic even more because she was just taking herself so seriously that she wasn't having any fun whatsoever. I'm having a bad face day. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, like her ability to be able to do, to time walk and everything like that, like, or, be a weaver or whatever. Like she just, yeah, like not everybody can do that. And so absolutely, like just kind of take really it all in. Yeah.
Yeah. I loved how her father showed up too. But didn't expect that at all. Well, that was a fun little twist there at the end, was the father showing up and just his perspective coming into the 1591 when he's coming from the 80s versus Matthew and Diana coming from the 2010s. Like, I thought that was a lot of fun too.
What's still a fad?
Yeah.
Sad roller derbies going out of fashion. Roller skating.
I mean, it's coming back though. Roller derbies are getting pretty popular again, so you never know.
Osseo is going to referee one this weekend.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
So was Diana born in was she alive in the 80s? Like as a child?
She was 3 whenever he came.
So I wondered what that was like for the dad, like to go back in time, see his adult daughter, and then return to the present and then see her like as a kiddo again. It's crazy.
I mean, he sure seemed shocked. He sure seemed like unnerved. And he wasn't. It was funny because Diana's reaction was definitely like, well, why doesn't he want to know everything about me? Why isn't he just wanting to spend every moment with me? Why isn't he just like bombarding me with love and things? And it's like, he's his own personality too. And he's also someone who's not, like, for one, I'm sure this is freaky as all heck, but also he it's interesting to see her perspective of him because she doesn't know what he's like as an adult, as a person.
Right.
She never got a chance to get to know him growing up. So I thought it was kind of cool that she sort of not held him at arm's length, but made that relationship, that situation a little awkward.
Well, and I'm sure he had to be thinking, about there's the whole tampering with time thing and how is his interaction with her then going to affect things in the future and stuff like that. So I don't know. I imagine you have to be pretty cautious with all that.
Yeah, Jean says here her father was the warning about changing. Her father's warning with the changing things seemed too late. Yeah, it definitely was too late because they had already changed so much.
They've been there for months.
Yeah.
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 He's like, I come for 2
And there were
weeks,
all the
and I just
anomalies
look.
already in the
Yeah.
future. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, they met the Queen of England. They were at Rudolph's court. They were being written about in different ways. Like they really didn't try hard at all to stay under the radar.
Yeah. I agree.
Which I'll be curious to see how much that affects them in the next book. Because there's got to be implications, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's underlying theme that she's put forth to explore. She wouldn't be like hammering that message of don't change things, even if it's too late, if she wasn't going to follow it through. I feel like she's a very intentional writer.
Yeah. Very good point. Because I agree. I think she's a very intentional writer. And it seems like all the loose ends that you see in other books, or like maybe her first book, are now in the second book, she seems to come back and tie them up at some point. At least that's what I've noticed so far. Let's see. I'm going to get a free subscription to Sundance once we finish the books. Only saw the first season. Actually, the second time. Her dad also might think that this happens in the current day.
Yeah, like he's going to be there to see her go to Oxford.
I think so. I think
he
he
knew
knows.
that he wasn't going to.
That's interesting.
They kind of implied that he knew, though.
Yeah.
If he knows that he and his wife died. Yeah, I
Wow.
feel like
he does.
Can you imagine? Like,
That just kills me.
I mean, that's similar to Felipe knowing that he's going to die because he
Yeah.
knows that he's
Yeah.
going to die too.
Yeah.
Like, how unnerving.
And he
Especially
really
for the
made good
vampires.
on that though. Like Felipe and like his whole like adopting Diana and like making her
That
like
was so
official
cute.
and like I loved it. I loved that so much. Like it was
I
really
love the
great.
wedding too. Oh, that was
Yes.
a fantastic wedding. I was like, geez Louise, what an experience.
They've had like 3 or 4 weddings now. Is it official enough?
You're like good and married. Yeah.
Well, no, it's not. There's going to be the next when they come back, they have to have another wedding of some sort.
Oh my gosh.
Isabeau will say something like, well, it's not technically official because we still haven't done this version of a wedding. And that Matthew killed him. Yeah, that's a big deal too.
Oh.
Like, he knows. But, I mean, he gives the forgiveness.
So
like you said, he
heartbreaking.
does it so well.
Yeah.
And considering the situation in which Matthew does it, he would be fully understanding.
Right. Yeah.
But he doesn't know what that situation is.
Yeah, that was a bad spot to be in.
Like, he still doesn't know.
But I think he also knows that if it came to that, it was for a good reason. You know, I don't think he questioned that.
Yeah.
He
So,
seemed like such a douche canoe to begin with.
Who?
Philippe.
Yeah. Felipe.
I didn't like him,
What'd
and
you say,
then
Paige?
he was a douche canoe to begin with.
He really was.
Who was the ultimate one in this one though? I can never remember. Edward? The creepy ass dude.
Oh, Edward Kelly, or no, Hubbard, Father Hubbard.
Father Hubbard, that's the one.
Oh yeah, he was horrifying.
I had.
Oh yeah, and the part where he like grabbed Diana's wrist and like Matthew was like onto her. Like, do you realize how easily he could have got all your secrets and everything? Like, that really gave me the creeps. Like, yeah, that was a close call. She didn't even realize how close that was.
I don't like that she gave the drop at the end because that just seemed like a stupid move because she's walked away and gone, oh, he knows my real name.
Yeah.
No shit. Shit.
He does, like, if Gerbert goes there, he can talk to Gerbert or any of the, I mean, it's not like he has any strong alliances, Father Hubbard. I mean, he made that agreement with her, but the agreement wasn't, it was just to take care of Annie and Jack. It wasn't to keep her name out of anybody's, and Matthew
was also included.
So I um I don't understand why Father Hubbard like conceded so much. Like he was willing to, considering how fanatical he was about, he was basically a cult leader. Considering how fanatical he was, why was it so easy for him to just say, okay, like I will give in now? I felt like he would continuously try to harm them.
I think maybe because he could see that there was a gain in gaining her blood, and then just miscalculated that Diana had better control of her magic than he thought. So
Yeah, I guess he thought that he was going to get more, didn't he? He was such a creeper. Oh,
he
such a
was.
creeper.
I don't like creepers. Creep and
No.
chasers.
And just the fact that he just thought he was so I love and hate those self-righteous characters. I think they're fascinating, but just the way they behave, and you're like, he thinks that he's doing it all for the right reasons. And you're like, no, you're just a creeper. You're just a creeper and you're justifying it.
You're
Where it
just a
shouldn't be
shit.
justified. Oh my gosh. Jean liked Annie and little Jack. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had some like theories going on about what was going on with Jack, and like how he knew that like Matthew was gonna come home before he actually got home, and there was something else that Jack did that was really kind of like
Like he
telling.
But what do we know about Jack? He's not a vampire, a witch, um um or a demon. Is he
I know.
psychic in some ways? Is that like,
That like I was leaning toward him being a demon, but then I was like, if he was a demon, then Diana would feel the nudges whenever he looked at her. But there's something like she's kind of making it out to be like there's something special about him. So I don't know what that is, but
I
I
wonder if
wonder,
it's a kid that's been time walked back there for a reason.
wait, what?
that's an interesting theory. Like he has time traveled like back to that time.
Like someone has dropped him in that time
For
for
a
a
reason.
particular reason.
Hmm,
Hmm.
maybe.
Well, I was curious about when um Diana runs into Sophia's, no, not Susanna. At the very end, she runs into her own family, Bridget and
Bridget.
Rebecca.
Yeah.
Why
Oh
were they
wow.
there? That's what I
That
couldn't understand. Why were they there?
I thought that was
Was
just the
that
first
their actual time?
representation. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it
And
seemed
they were
like.
trying to escape from the trials. So I think they, because there's no documentation of her family before Bridget, so she knew that they would have been then around that time, but they weren't intending on staying so long, maybe. And they've
But what
yeah,
made it strange was that she gave them the earring to hold on, because the earring is what will help them come back to the future in the future. I mean, come to the past in the future. But she wasn't initially there when it originally happened. Meaning, how did they get the earring initially? Like, that's a weird time loop thing that
that
wouldn't have happened
doesn't.
if they hadn't. I don't
Yeah.
understand how that works.
I don't
What
know.
hole?
I like is this just because I haven't read that far? Like I'm really
Like it could
like
have been in an alternate time that they were no, because it was someone's not someone that they would have interacted's earring.
I mean, the fact that then now I know
oh.
the fact that they had the earring and they got the earring, Isabeau's earring, was like foreshadowing for the fact that they were going to time walk, because they had to time walk in order for that earring to get into the hands of her relatives. So it's almost like this weird loop where you can you could have foreshadowed in the beginning that they're time walking, because I'm not saying we would, but you could, because you know that somehow that earring had to get into their hands. The only way it got in their hands was because they
Mm.
time walked.
I
But
mean
they could only
maybe
time walk because
like
of that earring. So like it just doesn't make any sense.
but like the chess piece didn't get to what's her name? Sophia or what was that girl's
Well,
name?
it
Anyway, It didn't get to her because she time walked.
It did. It did because it went to Kit when they first got there, and then Kit gave it to Dr. Hubbard or Father Hubbard, and then Father gave it to Annie, who's Susanna's niece, and Susanna is Sophia's family, and so Dr. Hubbard gave it to Annie, and then she went and became Shakespeare's maid, and eventually Annie passed it down enough that it stayed within that family, so Sophia got it.
But I'm saying Sophia didn't actually have to time walk to get it. It just got like handed
But
down.
Matthew time walked with it.
So it had to have been time walked to
Matthew
the
gave it
past to get to Kit, to get to, yeah.
I said time walk to Tit. I did it, silly.
Yeah, so like that whole time walking thing, like, and that's true with any kind of time walking, it always screws my brain up because,
Yeah.
oh my god.
But I also kind of like it. I like that it makes me like think that hard about.
Yeah.
How did that
It
happen?
is interesting. It just definitely makes your brain go, what? It could have been creepier. I was there was not a super creepy scene with him. No, he didn't end up being as creepy. Father Hubbard didn't end up being as creepy as I thought he was going to be. I thought he was going to be more like Gerbert, where how
I bet
creepy
he's
Gerbert
creepier
is.
in the show. I mean,
Probably, yeah. He just gives you those creepy vibes. But he did have his, like, as much as I feel like he was fanatical and he had control over all of London, he still did not have the freedom that, because of, like, he's almost handcuffed in his freedom because of the Clermonts. Like, he knows that he can't do he doesn't have that much freedom to be as crazy as he would like to be. I think Deborah wanted us to believe the Bridget meetup had to happen. Oh, Deborah Harkness believed. Yeah, well, it had to happen because there was no way they could have time to walk without those pieces. So, yeah. But it's never talked about and planned, right? So, yeah, but you're right. That is interesting about time walking in general, or any kind of time travel, is you're going to have that weird loop because the time when you go back to the past affects the future, which would have affected the time that you were, like it is complicated. Wine has me.
we're blocking people.
I know. I'm having to.
I'm just going to quickly grab my undies, but I have my headphones on so I can keep talking, I hope.
Did you say your undies?
Is she going to talk
No,
to
my
us in the
Ugg
bathroom?
boots. No, my Ugg boots.
Oh, okay. You're grabbing your undies, and I'm like, this is not the time to put them on.
Oh.
So, okay. There's a lot of things to think about, and my brain is going. Is anybody in the comments want to ask any questions about things? Because I'm getting a little warm here.
Oh my gosh! There we go.
Okay, so hey, what was the deal with Marcus and that Phoebe girl? Like,
I think he liked her.
No, I really liked that stuff.
Yeah, their original meeting, whenever he went to go get the little pendants, like the artwork on the little tiny portraits. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, their initial meeting, like I could totally feel the sparks. Like,
I just thought that was really fun because Marcus was so not interested in anybody in the first book. And I'm like, well, who's Marcus interested in? Because he sounds like he's this cute, fun dude, interesting dude, and he's very smart. And I'm like, well, how come he's just not interested in anybody? And then, of course, we
he
meet
just hadn't met Phoebe yet.
He hadn't met Phoebe yet. And then all of a sudden, Phoebe's part of the family. Like, what the heck?
And I love how, like, it described, like, her perception of, like, his dress and, like, his, what he was wearing and just how he looked and everything. I was just like, yeah, he's so quirky.
I loved it. I really liked that a lot, actually. I was like, oh, I'm an even bigger fan of Marcus when we had that whole scene with him. And Jean says Marcus and Phoebe get thrown. So that must be Time's Convert, must be about them, which I'm happy about that. I like that. I wouldn't be upset.
That's the one we're also reading after these three. Yeah.
I'll be okay with that. I like that. What page?
I've got a discussion point.
Good.
Oh, good. That's why we're here.
So on the back of my copy, it says rich, thrilling, a captivating and romantic ripping yarn
Oh my.
from E.L. James.
I don't know who
He's
that is.
50 Shades author.
Oh.
Oh.
And it's all like talking about like a bubbling cauldron of illicit desire and a short saga that blends romance and fantasy.
On Shadow of Night?
No.
Yeah,
No.
that
that
Is that like false advertising?
I
It
don't know.
It didn't like do that for me.
I feel like they accidentally put that on that one when it should have been on Discovery of Witches.
I don't feel I agree that it's a romance fantasy, but like the way that they're making it out seems to be more
It's not that
erotica.
steamy. Yeah, it's
No.
The sex scenes repulsed me. I couldn't stop thinking that anytime they had sex, she was thinking more about her clothing than him.
Yeah.
Like, she'd constantly be like,
That
oh,
was
but my
sad.
skirts are going to get in the way. And then he was like ripping them and trying
This
to be
might
all...
get wrinkled, you know, like who
Let me hang up
cares?
my skirts first. What? And then I don't know. Is
Hang
that
on, I
how
gotta take off
hysterically they had
my butt
sex?
donut or whatever she was calling it.
Yes.
Her butt donut. I didn't even think about that. Honestly, did that
Completely took me out because I was just like,
Oh
I
my
don't like
gosh.
these sex scenes. I'm borderline just dying inside. And then Matthew was all like dominance and I must be the domineer and I'm just gonna rip your clothes off and we'll get you new ones. And I'm like, fuck off, let her take her clothes off. Do it sensually. You don't have to rip it.
Oh man.
She does. The academic does, apparently.
Oh, Ash. Yeah.
Oh, I gotta stop.
Like, I couldn't
Well, it
get on
wasn't
board with it.
It wasn't Paige's review. It was E.L. James or something.
Oh,
It was a
goodness.
blurb.
From E.L. and he's the author of 50 Shades.
Yeah.
Or is it a she?
They are the author. I don't know.
EL is female, I think.
Well, going back to this, I did think it was interesting because you know, Diana was so upset that he wouldn't have sex with her for so long, and yet then when they finally do have sex, she's just thinking about her clothing.
And then, it hurt me so much when she miscarried and then was like, I'm over you touching me with pity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want pity kisses. Fucking just be a man and get over it. Because they knew that they could have more kids, potentially. Like, chances of her miscarrying again is still high. Because miscarriage rate is insanely high, but people just don't talk about it.
Right.
And especially in their living circumstances.
Which I thought it was good that she did touch on that. Like 100%. About how, yeah.
And how then the witches all said we've all had one, or we've all, you know, it's all happened to all of us. And that is, you're right. That is one of those conversations that you very rarely hear about because people just don't talk about it. And it does affect so many women. And yet I don't know why. I mean, we talk about other things more than that even. So I don't know why that in particular is so hush hush.
About 10 to 15% of pregnancies end in miscarriages.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot.
And that's like this day and age.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then back in the 1590s, it would have been way more than that because they're not having.
Exceptionally.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep, that's right. Who thinks about no, absolutely not. Hopefully not. Otherwise, well, you might, and then you just realize this is not the right person you should be having sex with.
Precisely. And I was just like, stand up for yourself in the bedroom. Like, obviously, he's like trying to make it. I think I just broke my desk. Both, you know, let her, and then he does, but also just like communicate.
Yes, the communication was weird. It was definitely off. And you're right, because she stands up for herself, especially like I was getting so frustrated with her with the Shadow of Night group. And she was not standing up for herself. And she finally started standing up for herself. But she doesn't ever do that with Matthew in the bedroom. Like she'll do it
No.
with other things, like, hey Matthew, this is bullshit. I need to take charge here, what have you. But she never does that when it comes
That's a
to
good point.
their
Very good.
relations in the bedroom.
Yeah. And all that it was him wanting to drink from her heart or something. Like,
Yeah.
you know, that was what was holding back. And it's like, well, just fucking say that, you know. If you don't trust me with that, then this isn't going to work.
Yeah.
And I don't know, the Matthew from this time period didn't feel like Matthew from the first book. And I don't like them as a couple in Shadow of Night.
Yeah.
It was hard. It was hard to like them in this book.
Yeah.
As a couple, for sure.
For sure.
And I mean, Hamish warned us that he was going to be different. I just didn't realize how much of a dude bro he was going to become. Because that's what he becomes. Like he's a total 100%. Dude bro.
I can't stand them.
And then his relationship with Kit. Like even though he occasionally feeds off of Kit, but there's nothing actual sexual happening. Like he said, there's nothing sexual that actually happens between them. But he's still totally using Kit. You know,
and vice versa.
Right. But Kit's actually in love with him. He's not in love with Kit. So like, and granted, Kit's also insane. So it's not even just the love, because Kit's just insane. But when
Kit's also rattled with opiates as well.
Yes. But if someone's that obsessed with you, even if they're using you, but you know that you don't have the same feelings for them, it's kind of screwed up to continue.
100%. And he's like, oh, but he's my bro, so it's fine. And I was like, no, you don't do that.
No, it's not okay. Yeah, I just didn't think that the whole relationship between him and Kit was so incredibly toxic. I hated it. I absolutely hated it.
Yeah,
I like Henry, though.
I don't even like to think on it, because if I do, it just like ruins.
Yeah,
it just ruins it for me.
Agreed.
Like I tried just not to focus on that.
I did too. I really liked Henry, though. I thought he was the sweetest thing ever. So
yeah,
I was a fan of Henry.
Guy that's always like one step of Diana, just like looking after her.
Galaglass.
No, the other one, like the servant.
Pierre.
Yeah, that's the one. I loved him.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah. I really ended up loving a lot of the side characters. Like the friend group ended up enjoying most of them in this book. It just took a little longer.
And Francois.
Yep.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
And what'd you think about Queen Elizabeth?
Feisty. She feisty bitch.
She was kind of exactly what I imagined her to be honest. Her personality, like that is how her character, her historical character is portrayed. And you can just tell she's a dangerous woman. Like, but she does it for fun. You know, like I'm a dangerous woman because I can be, you know?
Not. Yeah. I rule over all of this shit, so I'm just gonna throw shit in the works, because why not?
Yeah, when she invited them to, is it called Richmond or something? When she invited them there, like I thought it was going to be so much worse than it actually wound up being. Yeah. I was scared for them. But yeah.
Yeah. There were definitely some moments, and this comes back to like the Father Hubbard thing. There were like moments where I thought it was going to get so much worse than it did end up getting with those particular people. I thought things would go worse with Father Hubbard. I thought things would go worse with Queen Elizabeth. I really thought things would go a lot worse with Rudolph than they ended up going. I mean, granted, they weren't good, but they were able to get away. You know, there was no big battle really. And
there were no big battle scenes in this aside from Louise.
Yeah,
Louisa.
What was it? Benjamin and Louisa?
Louisa and Kit.
Oh, was it Kit or Benjamin?
Mm-hmm. It was Kit.
Okay.
Yeah. But even then, that wasn't really anything.
And what, the fire drake protected her?
Yeah.
That's what the...
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
The coven.
Oh, yeah. And Goody also.
I couldn't keep all of those witches straight. Like I couldn't
No,
really.
I couldn't.
They would
I
talk
just
about like
remember.
Elizabeth, and they would talk about
Marjorie,
yeah. And I was
Catherine.
like, I don't know. Catherine was the fire one.
Yeah.
I do remember that, but the other two I could not keep straight.
Marjorie was Earth.
Yeah.
And she was the very like friendly, outgoing, upbeat one. Susanna was Earth also, but she was also the midwife, and she's the one who challenged it, you know. And I was really worried about that.
She was
Challenging,
Sophie's relative,
yes.
right?
And I was really worried about her challenging it and having to face the whole witch
Read. They called it a
Yes,
read.
that's right.
Yeah.
I was really worried about that because they made them so visual,
Exposed.
not visual, but yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like everyone, all the witches knew what the fuck was happening then. But I like that because like a lot of the times with the vampires and the demons, they're sort of just kept everyone on the outskirts. And although we do have, you know, the pain of the witches betraying it from the first book, it's like this is showing the flip side and that, you know, a coven can be good and band together to actually make a cohesive unit that is just so adorable.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they were wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. I loved that
Yeah.
whole bit because it was fun. It was like about freaking time that
Yeah,
Diana actually
I
gets to
think
work on
Goody
her
just
magic.
like made this whole book. Like for me.
Yeah.
Like yeah. That was what I had been waiting on, like a very maternal like figure to like take her under her wing and tell her exactly who she was and what she was capable of, and like I was waiting for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
It
that a lot.
it took a while to get there, and I was like,
Yes.
"Are we getting?" Because we kept
Yeah.
like getting these other witches that were horrible people. Like it reminded me of the first book because they were horrible witches, um, and yet finally we got the good witches, and it was amazing. What do you guys think of her being a weaver?
That was cool.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that.
I
And
do
then
like
she has Cora,
Mm-hmm. Her
the fire drake.
fire drake. Yeah.
That's what she wound up naming it. Cora.
That's what it said its name was.
Oh, it told her that. Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
That's like one of the things is you've got to find out its name and let it come to you with its name. And that was one of the reasons
love
she was
that.
having so much trouble trying to control it because she didn't know its name and it hadn't told her.
Okay.
And so then she like goes through the process of like, well, that was her dad that helped her with it, wasn't it? Yeah.
Her dad did so much to help her
Very
magic
good.
along.
And
Did
it was
her
sort of just
dad
like
have a
mhm,
companion? He did.
Ben
Mm-hmm.
Ben 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 Bento
Benu. Benu.
Benu.
Benu, yeah.
What was that? What was it? What was the
Stork or an
creature?
egret? It was like a stork or an egret.
I don't
Some kind of
remember.
bird, though.
I was
That's
listening to it on
interesting.
3 times speed.
Yeah, it was like a stork or an egret.
I love it.
Jean says, Goody was like the Isabel of this book. Which one's Isabel?
Oh, I think she means
Oh,
Isabeau.
Isabeau. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I felt like Felipe was the Isabeau of this book. I really did feel like those two characters played the same kind of
For
role.
me, there is no Isabeau replacement. Like she is just. I'm a huge fan. Like huge fan. Nobody can replace her.
I liked Felipe just as much as I loved them.
I don't
And
think I
it makes
did.
sense that they were a couple too. So like to me it
Yeah.
was like they are the perfect couple.
Yeah.
Yeah, her dad was a weaver. So that really was fun
Yeah,
to see too. And
I did catch that.
yeah. I thought it was really cool how excited he was to meet another weaver. Like he was so excited to meet Goody Alsop because
Oh, really?
yeah, because weavers are so rare even, in the time that he's alive.
And was
So I
there
thought,
another? There was another like male weaver, wasn't
yeah.
there?
His name was, gosh, what was his name? He was in the Jewish community over in Prague.
Oh, was he the one that made the golem or what?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Which I thought was interesting. I liked when we met him because he seemed like a weaver who was still also trying to learn what it was like to be a weaver. Like it was interesting to see
That's
that
cool.
he was kind of immature, not
Trying to
immature, but like
figure it out too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And and made it seem like they were kind of on the same level in a sense.
I cannot imagine.
It was very satisfying learning about her magic and
Yeah, I mean,
seeing.
it was just as big of a deal as what kind of the buildup led us to believe. So that's good.
Yeah.
I wasn't disappointed about that.
Yeah. I feel like though I should have a list of characters in the book. So I have a list in mine.
Yeah,
In my
mine
book
does
there's
too.
Libri Personae, the people of the book.
I didn't pay much attention to it, but it is back there. Yep.
Yeah. So if hopefully you have that in yours, Jean. If not, I'm sorry.
You could it might be available like online or something.
Prefer it up online. Yeah, I think so too.
George Chapman, a writer of some reputation and little patronage.
Yeah.
That's
The descriptions were
hilarious.
kind of funny. Yeah. Kind of underwhelming. It's like, oh, okay, could have figured that out.
Yeah. So we're saying that something is going to happen with Jack. Like Jack is going to come into play somehow in the
I
future.
don't know. Are we saying that? I don't know. There's
I don't
definitely been
know.
some hints. And like you said, she doesn't really leave those loose ends like undone. So, or even Paige said, you know, she's like a really intentional writer. So that makes me think like there's something more that we don't know about Jack.
Yeah. Where was oh, I was wondering where never mind. I was wondering where what was from the first book?
But
Huh?
Were you talking about my Rumpelstiltskin reference?
No.
That's what I kept getting hung
I
up on.
suppose like
Marcy.
yeah,
No.
that Marta or Martha? Mart?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I was thinking she would have been with Isabeau, right? So that's where she was.
I need to know what happened to make Sarah so upset.
What, you know though,
Do I? I have forgotten.
M's dead.
When did that happen?
We find
that
out
was not in the summary.
Oh.
But it's fine. Tell me.
M's dead. So somehow when Sophia and Nathaniel, when their baby, when what's the new baby's name? Madeline. When Madeline becomes
Margaret.
born, Margaret. Something happened with Margaret becoming born, where Em, I guess, was trying to protect them, or something happened, and she was killed, probably by the congregation. But we don't know the story. It happens literally in the very end that we find out that Em is dead.
Yeah,
Oh,
but I was
crap.
where is the full information on this? I don't.
In the book of
So
life.
maybe in the next book.
Yeah, it has to be. Because they
Sorry to break that to you.
Oh, my heart. Oh my gosh.
It was devastating. Like,
Because
it
Sarah is depressed.
Yeah, she's
Fair
really.
enough.
Oh,
She's
cannot.
like sitting in a room just chain smoking and drinking whiskey all day, every day.
That'll do it. Wow.
And then Isabeau basically says to her, like, she asks Isabeau, like, when's the pain gonna stop? And Isabeau's like, it's not. You're never gonna feel the same again. It's gonna be horrible forever.
That I wake up and want my Philippe to come home, and
Come
then
on, Isabeau, like keeping it real.
Yeah, 100%.
It's not. You're not gonna feel better.
It's
It's
exactly
gonna hurt
what she
every
says.
damn day.
Yep.
She says it will help that Margaret's alive, and watching Margaret grow up will help. And then also,
And Diana's having babies.
Yeah.
So that will help.
But they don't know that at the moment.
Oh.
but they know that Diana and Matt are coming back. So, like,
Yeah.
she says
Yeah.
that'll help, is that Diana and Matthew are coming back.
And then they
And-
have Mother, and then they're like, ah!
They have what?
What?
They're gonna have a Bubba, and everyone was like, ah!
They're gonna have two.
They're gonna have two, yeah.
Yes.
They're gonna have twins.
And you know, you
I'm
guys,
so
I had a feeling about the twin thing.
Yeah.
Why?
I really did.
Did it
Because
too, Paige?
because of the whole thing with them like not being able to agree upon the set, like the first time when she miscarried, like they couldn't agree on whether or not it was going to be a boy or a girl. And then there's the whole like everything in like the Ashmole book with like the depictions, and like even Diana, isn't she like a chimera or whatever? Like isn't she like kind of both?
Yeah, she was supposed
I
to be
don't
a
know,
twin.
but Yeah, she was supposed to be a twin.
Right.
That's there you go. Anyway, I had a feeling about the twin thing.
So did Diana weave that to happen then? Like subconsciously, you see her weave things all the time subconsciously. Did she weave the twins?
She might have.
I
Did
don't
she
think
ask
she
a question?
intentionally
Because
did.
that's how she does everything. She's
Yeah.
curious. I wonder if I might be having twins. Boom. Twins.
Oh,
I wonder if it's going to be a boy or a girl. Boom, I've got twins.
I've got both, one of each. Also, there is big parallels between life and death and dichotomies throughout the entire series. That are like, one is going to be like life and the other's going to be death.
There's this
and one's
total
gonna
like
be
balance. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It just makes a lot of sense.
So then one will be a witch and one will be a vampire.
Yeah.
Ah, very good.
In terms of the weaving, I don't think so, because they only picked up the second heartbeat like later in the piece, and I feel like it was just her body going. Like she didn't say, "Yeah, I wove it into action." It was, "Oh, twins run on my side, Isabeau's side of the family, and twins run on her side of the family." So it was like the genetic predisposition to having twins. Like Ash and I won't have twins because I'm in the wrong generation for it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, but I've got my dad's sisters are twins, and my grandma on my mum's side, her great uncles are twins. But because they're on the wrong stepping, I'm not going to have twins. It's not like genetically meant to line up that way. But the way that they were describing it was they fall on the parallels to have twins.
Okay.
But
wow,
science is weird, and it can happen at anytime, anyway.
Could change its mind.
Yeah.
I'm curious about, so Danielle, the whole thing we were talking about in our most recent comments in the Discord.
About Varen?
Yes. I didn't understand how Varen was Isabeau's stepdaughter, but then Matthew's not Felipe's stepson. Because vampires are created. So obviously, Isabeau created Matthew. He really doesn't have any of Felipe's blood unless Felipe did that blood thing with him. Same thing with Felipe making Varen. But like, does Isabeau just like, oh, well, I don't claim Varen, I'm not going to do that blood thing with her, so she's going to be my stepdaughter forever?
Honestly, like, I think you have a beautiful mind, but I thought you were like reading too much into it. Like, to me, like,
I was trying to understand the relationships, the family relationships, like where Varen
was probably like created by Felipe. That's why Felipe is her dad, and so since Felipe is like married to Isabeau, then to me that makes Isabeau her stepmother. But like that's just how.
But that's the same thing with Matthew, though.
It in my brain.
Mm-hmm. Because then Matthew, so Felipe's Matthew's stepdad.
I guess so, but
it just was weird to me because she pointed out the difference. Like, yeah, the wording was so different in the book, and I'm like, well, why is that significant? If Matthew's in the same situation as Varen, but he never calls Felipe his stepdad.
And maybe it's just like a matter of like proximity. Like, you know, some children are like closer to their step parent, you know, so they might just leave off the step and be like,
right,
that's my mom, that's my dad, whatever, you know. But
bad blood between Isabeau and Varen.
I don't know. Am I gonna finish Shadow of Night? Yes, I am. I'm gonna finish it, I promise. I have 185 pages.
I thought Isabeau didn't like Varen. Sorry about spelling it, would not accept her. So that must be what it is that she just won't accept her. So she stays her stepmother because I didn't.
I wonder why then.
Yeah, I was curious. And then maybe that's what I was more interested in, was why Isabeau doesn't like Varen so much.
I imagine we'll find out if that's the case.
Isabeau tried to kill her husband when he was 6 years old. And she saved
Ernst or whatever his name is.
Yeah. So she saved his life, and that's why there is a disconnect.
And it sounds like
That
Ernst's
makes sense.
father was probably a Nazi, right? Because Isabeau was trying to kill the Nazis that killed Felipe.
Probably.
Oh.
So maybe that's what it is that Varen fell in love with or protected
Like,
a Nazi
so
child.
what is the
And
word? Like,
twisted.
yeah, intricate. Like, oh my gosh. Ugh.
Thank you for remembering that page, because I knew there was some reason why Isabeau didn't like. I just couldn't remember. I don't remember things.
There's just so many details in these books. Like, that's why it's really good, I think, that we're reading it together, because there's just no way, like, if I read this solo, that I would take away, like, everything that is potentially I could take away, you know?
Yeah. Well, and I'm also curious about so Mary Sidney was able to use both Diana's and then Matthew's blood and create that arbor that's different than the Diana arbor. It's the tree that has both of their blood, and it's very unique, and it's exactly like the picture in the book. And then there is that same arbor at the house once they arrive at Madison, because of his little coffin thing that he put both their blood in. It caused the same reaction, so that tree is growing out of the fireplace. And there's like, what is the significance of that stuff? Like, so there's like these little things that are significant in some way, but we just don't know. And there's so many details about all these different little things that
I mean,
have to
with
be
that
significant.
said, though, can you imagine what this third book is gonna be like?
It's got to
Like,
be.
I hope it just knocks our socks off, honestly. Like, after all of this, I hope it's just so satisfying and just so mind-blowing, and yeah, I hope it's
We just
amazing.
all fall over,
Yeah.
are numb for a while.
I hope we, like, finish and we're going like, "Oh my gosh, my brain, my brain." Yeah, like, I just hope it's amazing.
I'm sure it will be. Well, so what we have to look forward to for one are twins, right? So we'll probably have the babies at some point, and what that's going to look like, and then the conventicle versus the congregation.
Gonna get our little face off, huh?
Yeah, and we're going to get more of creepy Gerbert, because he's got to come back.
Okay.
He's awful. So is Peter.
That's funny. I keep wanting to say Gerbert. It looks like Gerbert to me. Gerbert, whatever.
It's not the
Gerbert.
French way.
Gerbert.
Sounds like Sherbert. You say it that
Or
way.
like Gerber, like Gerber baby. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Gerbert.
Gerbert.
But yeah, so we're going to get more of him. We're going to get the whole congregation. So wait, now I'm curious, who is on the congregation? Is it Varen? Is Varen in the congregation? Who is part of the congregation?
Oh, I thought we had that like pretty much established. But don't ask me to tell you off the top of my head, because it's not there.
We don't know. They wouldn't. Matthew wouldn't say.
Who were the other vampires? You mean?
In the de Clermonts, who in the de Clermont family is currently on the congregation? Because somebody is currently on the congregation. Better not be Louisa. I bet you it is.
Yeah, I don't.
Or Benjamin. It's probably Benjamin. Because he hated
Is
the family.
Louisa even alive?
Yeah, she never died. She just got sent away by Felipe somewhere. It could be Benjamin. He hates the family, so I could see him being a bad Mama Jamma.
Huh.
Hannah's laughing at our Sherbert.
Brr.
Gerbert.
And he thinks
Gerbert.
see, Benjamin. I bet it's Benjamin. This is me putting my
Gene-
stake in my...
Gene's with you. I don't know. I hadn't thought about it that hard.
Do you think
Neither.
Benjamin's a serial killer?
Probably.
Do I think he's a serial killer?
Matthew says... I mean, I comment all these things in Discord. Nobody responds
Isn't
to
he
me.
a vampire?
Bring him up again. So Matthew says when he has the blood plague, he's really scary, but he's not as scary as when he's lucid. He's more scary when he's not got the blood plague, which to me says, who's more scary? Like, he's got to be a serial killer, right?
Sounds right.
Don't watch the series. It's already revealed. Okay, I won't watch the series.
Ugh.
I think it's Benjamin. It's all about the Benjamins, baby. And we know that he hates the de Clermont family, his own family.
Oh
Well, I
man.
can't wait to see Gallowglass again. I really liked Gallowglass.
Yeah, I'm a big fan too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Big fan.
Uh,
Well, yeah, like when he was like doing his like motorcycle riding, chain smoking thing, like in the future, whatever. Like, yeah, I really feel like that's when I started to like really think he was awesome. Like not for those reasons, but because he was like he was watching and he was waiting for them. Like I don't
Mm-hmm.
know, he was just very faithful, like
For
in
like
his faith, in
1,500
his
years, he's waiting for them.
yeah. Like
No,
I don't
500,
know.
600 years. Yeah, sorry, I'm off of my dates. 600 years
Yeah,
or so.
yeah. I really liked that part. Gave me the warm fuzzies.
I loved Gallowglass.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Really surprised at Gallowglass hiding. It sounds like that's his personality, though. Like he's a wanderer. That song's in my
So
head now.
I've
Huh?
just stumbled across a tweet from 2019.
Oh no. Is it going to give anything away?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
It's from Deborah Harkness, though.
Oh
Oh.
gosh.
The All Souls trilogy is the first 3 books in the All Souls series. Book 4 is already out and is called Time's Combat. I'm working on book 5 now. Book 6 should be The Serpent's Mirror about Matthew's 16th century life before 1590. Book 7 will probably focus on Gallowglass.
Wait, when did
What?
Time's Convert come out?
And that was
At
in
age of
2019?
That was in 2019.
Deborah, babe,
Work
come
on it.
on.
There's no word on book 5 since.
Oh my gosh. Can we just skip
COVID,
to book 7?
COVID was rough.
Be fine with it.
Oh, wow.
I
And
hate
yet,
when that happens.
oh, Jean
That's
said Deborah has cancer and has put things on hold.
oh no.
How old is she? Is it breast cancer?
Oh, ovarian.
Ovarian. Oh, jeez.
No.
And she's just finished chemo on the 28th of May.
Oh, that's rough.
Okay. Well. Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, so her
That's
last round was 28th of May this year, after 20 weeks of chemo.
That kills
okay.
me.
Oh, that's sad. Well, hopefully the chemo is going well and she's in recovery now.
At least we'll have new releases to look forward to.
I know, because there is so much that there's so far you can go with this series because she's created such a big world, with time walking, that you can go throughout history and really just continue to add on different things. So I totally see it. I'll be interested in them going back to Matthew before this, though. Like, is that necessary? What was Matthew doing? That's going to be the Matthew we don't like.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible, actually. I know, it does. Well, I'm hoping that she's healing up and that she'll feel better. And
I hope so too.
I think the thing I was definitely disappointed about the whole Annie and Jack thing. I just didn't want them to stay back there in the past.
Oh,
and the coming back and having to say goodbye to all their friends who they'll never ever see again. That has to be so hard. Yeah.
But at least they got closure.
Yeah. That's very true. And it was pretty cool that both of them got to see their fathers for one last time and come to terms. Matthew needed to come to terms with his father because he was holding on so much for 600 some odd years. see. The teasers ended at the end of third book. I wanted Annie and Jack to try. I did too. I really did too. I thought there's got to be a way, right? There's got to be a way. So Goody Alsop teaches her how to make that 10th knot. What the heck does that 10th knot do?
It said in the summary that it's supposed to help her use her spells as like a weapon, or her.
Yeah, she does say that, but I didn't know what that meant, or like why that would be. I mean, I know that why that would be necessary, but like
she's gonna need it to do battle with the congregation. Yeah.
Well, at least Diana's starting to get a better hang on her magic, so that's a good. That's what matters at the moment, because we want to make sure that she's not as helpless as she was.
Yeah, that was rough.
Yeah, imagine having that much power and not being able to use it at all.
Yeah, I loved the revelation where Goody was like, "Well, of course you can't do spells. Like you can't do spells like other people have already made. You have to make your own." She's like, "Oh." I really thought I was broken. Yeah.
Like, duh. Why would you think you could do that? I did. I think that's I think that's another reason why that was so satisfying, was the Goody Alsop and getting knowing that she was a weaver, being able to understand why she was so hampered by trying to do magic for so long. Like, that was so incredibly satisfying, because it was very, very frustrating. I know that was something that most people were,
the whole scene where like she was supposed to crack the egg into the bowl and like she made a chicken, like that made me so happy. Like and she was like, "Oh, I did it wrong, whatever." And the other ladies were like,
lady.
"Are you kidding?" It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, just to be able to like will something into being, like, oh my gosh, come on.
Yeah, I thought that
I'd
was
probably get carried away. Like Diana has like got a pretty good hold on herself. Like I'd be making all kinds of things happen. Yeah.
I did definitely find it interesting how she could just think up a question. Like, so when she was in the presence of somebody else, like with Mary Sidney, and all of a sudden she turns her shoes into life. Like, I thought that was...
Yeah, I loved how like her curiosity came into play. Like just her natural, like curious nature. Like that's what she does.
Yeah.
She asks questions, and there's a reason for that.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible.
Mm-hmm. Sigh.
We've got a third book to look forward to, for at least for this pairing. And the Book of Life. Oh, what'd you think about the Book of Life? How nasty it is.
So is the Book of Life Ashmole, or is it something different? Mm-hmm. It is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I don't like it.
Why do you say it's nasty? Explain that to me.
It's made out of human and witch and vampire and demon.
Like parts? Mm-hmm. Oh.
Like their skin has been flayed, their blood has been used as ink, biting their bones.
That's special.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's 100% made out of human, or not human, but creature.
Like, why?
To make it stronger.
Oh. It's like indestructible?
More the magical. The magical connections to it.
Okay.
But it's gross. It's so gross.
It's gross.
And it smells like flesh. Like when Matthew and... Oh no, when Matthew and Diana...
that? Like she didn't notice that at the Bodleian whatever library?
Nope. Because I think because it wasn't complete. Is that... It had
I don't
lost
know.
Oh,
its.
because those 3 pages were missing?
It had lost something. Maybe.
No, because it had those 3 pages were missing when they got to really look through it this
Oh
last
yeah.
time. Yeah. I just think maybe she didn't have the same senses as she had before. Remember, she was trying to deplete her magic or hold back her magic for so long, so she probably just didn't have the same level of awareness that she has now. She's very in tune with her magic now.
Yeah.
Oh.
But Matthew noticed it right away because he could smell. He had him and his sense of smell.
Mm.
And it could even be, like, the third eye thing because she's really been, like I mean, I don't know. She seems to be utilizing that more, or it seems to be waking up of its own accord. I don't know. I don't know how that works, but
Yeah. And then Edward Kelly, some reason, well, he's going crazy because of the book, but he also tears out the first 3 pages. So he must know something. Well, he must either expect that it's going to get stolen away, or he knows something about those 3 pages that makes it important that he pulls them out because he tore them out of the book. Like, why would you do that?
what
Unless
was the
there
rest
was
of this story about or is that his name? Edward Kelly?
Edward
Like,
Kelly,
he was supposed Matthew was supposed to bring him back to the queen, but didn't.
right? Because he wouldn't go.
He
He was
refused to go?
crazy. Yeah, he was
His meth?
crazy. He wouldn't
A
leave,
couple of marbles.
and he wouldn't leave Ashmole.
Okay.
But Matthew and Gallaglass stole Ashmole.
Yeah.
um, but Edward Kelly was a demon, right? And demons do go crazy. Like, they don't go crazy, but they have the capacity to go crazy because they get like overstimulated and they overthink things and stuff like that. So he was. I just think maybe his working with that book drove him to insanity or something.
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, they seem like highly sensitive creatures, so I could see that.
Wish they wondered more about Randolph's library. Just wondered more about Randolph's library to see if there were more books. Yeah,
But
we didn't. Rudolph. What?
I like books.
It did not sound like a very organized place the way she described it. I was like, "Oh." Yeah. It like almost like caused me a little bit of anxiety. I'm like, "Oh. Mm,
Well,
might
how
want to
about
straighten that
Rudolph?
up."
Did he cause you an anxiety in the way he was obsessed with her?
I mean, I've gotten a little taste of him. Yeah, he's definitely kind of cringy. Like, "Ooh. Okay."
He was super cringy. And the fact that he wanted to purchase her, in other words, like he basically wanted to buy her and keep her. And he didn't think he thought she was available because, Matthew couldn't really claim her as his genuine wife because the congregation, can't let the congregation know.
Right.
So the congregation's telling Rudolph, like, oh, they're not really married. They have to pretend to be. And so Rudolph thinks, fair game. Let me just take this witch and make her part of my collection because he doesn't really care about her. He cares about collecting her.
Yeah, and he sounded like the way she described him, like he sounded quite unattractive. Like she described him as having like a protruding like underbite and
Yeah.
like an excessively long chin, and he was
Mhm.
like kind of short, and I don't know. I got a really weird like mental image of him.
Yeah, I don't know if Rudolph suffered the fate of a lot of those interbred families then, the royal families. I mean, that was a thing then though. You married within your family because you had to keep the wealth and everything within your
But
family.
what
You had
was
to
the
keep
fate of them? Like they were then that made them unattractive?
it did wow. I'm having a hard time with words today, guys. It did cause a problem, and it also caused a problem. That's where the blood disease, what was it, blood that is associated with incest.
Mm.
Age is adding.
Oh, Paige. Oh my.
Yeah,
That is
Yeah, so there were a lot of, and this is, I'm stretching my brain here a little bit because I'm not a historian, but there were a lot of situations of
My God.
incest where it did cause, because of inbreeding, it caused a lot of genetic, Habsburg jaw, right, which was a result of incest, and it became, so you saw a lot more of that in these royal families, and they really weren't very attractive people because they had all these anomalies that were due to incestual traits that were being overbred in the family. And then they had what was the blood problem, the blood disease that comes with incest. I don't remember what it is, but
Isn't that like
I need to read more books. Like, I am just learning all kinds of things.
if you're interested in incest, there's a lot of history on that.
Whoa. Like, not saying I'm.
hemophilia?
Let's rephrase that. Oh, man.
What did I miss? What did I miss?
I can't even say it out loud. I cannot even say that out loud.
I said if you're into incest, I meant more like the study of
That's what
and the implications.
Oh my god.
You're getting kind of pink there, Danielle.
I know. It's spreading. It's spreading. Oh, Amy. Amy.
The word you were looking for is hemophilia.
Said that. I think she said that.
That's the blood disease.
Which means
Cosby is.
I mean, at least one of us is related to you, Shazza, so
Where do you think I get it from? That's passed down in my family. Let's talk about genetics.
Hemophilia is
the blood disease.
Right.
But what does it mean? What is it?
It's associated with these royal ancestral families, and a lot of people got it and died from hemophilia because it's this like rare genetic disorder. But when you're only mating with your family, it becomes more dominant because there's a lot more opportunities for it to come about as a recessive disorder.
It means your blood won't clot.
Oh,
that's what I was going to say. Does it mean your blood is thin? Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Too much information. Too much of the wrong information.
In my other life. Wow. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Sorry, if they get an injury, like it can't heal, and given the times that these were happening, like there wasn't medical support.
I never knew that connection between hemophilia and incest.
The Roman family? No, the Russian royal family, was that where I know it from? And like Anastasia? Was that?
Oh, really?
Was that? No, I can't remember where I know this information from, but I feel it was like the young boy of one royal family, and that's where I learned about it.
I don't know in particular. I just know that was pretty common during that time because people were intermarrying quite a bit in the royal, people who are at the highest levels. So our top 1% was intermarrying because they wanted to keep the money and the titles and everything within the family. You don't want that power to be outside of the family, right? You don't want that power going elsewhere.
Right.
Leanna knows better than
bloodline's pure. Yeah.
Leanna knows. Thanks, Leanna.
I'm happy to modify my bloodline if it means not.
I mean, that is the right thing to do. I mean, and that's why a lot of pure breed dogs, though, have a lot of health issues, is because they don't breed out the genetic defects with getting different genes in there that are. So a lot of them, anyways.
Makes sense.
Genetics are weird.
Good old Rudolph got us.
Oh, If you
on our
want to learn
little
more about it, learn
bunny
about
trail.
the blue people from the Appalachian Mountains.
I read the book Woman of Troublesome Creek, so I did. That it really intrigued me. Like I wanted to know more, and I did. I
Yeah.
researched it. Like, yeah,
Yeah, that's
very
it.
fascinating.
Yes.
Except that wasn't hemophilia. There was some other long
No,
H name for that.
but it's still
Hemata
a recessive
hemata
disorder or
something.
recessive
Yeah.
trait is what
Gene-taking
it is.
dominance.
Yeah. But that comes with not having sex outside of your small
Yeah.
community.
Their blood like wasn't able to like oxygenate properly. Yeah. And that's why they were blue.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does make sense.
Ash's beta, always blue. Not blue, but like tinged, because he's a diabetic.
Oh, okay. I was like
Who
thinking
is?
it just doesn't get circulation down there.
Ash?
Hmm.
Oh, okay.
Does he do things to get the better circulation down there, like massaging
He
or something
does.
like that?
Yeah.
Mm.
But he's chill. It's not
Yeah.
like concerning. It's just the way that it is.
Yeah. Oh, so
I don't know,
from
man. I just watched Steel Magnolias, and that girl on Steel Magnolias had diabetes, and that wound up being bad. So,
yeah.
Well.
As long as Ash takes care of himself.
Yeah.
We love Ash.
I think hers got worse on the movie because she got pregnant even though her like doctors had advised her not to.
Oh,
And it
so her
wound up
diabetes was that
it
bad.
wound up being like really hard on her kidneys, and then she had to have a kidney transplant, and then she didn't like really receive that kidney very well, and there wound up being some kind of
The organ got
secondary like
rejected.
infection thing. So yeah.
That was Julia Roberts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that. Gosh, it's been a long time since I've seen that movie.
It's on Netflix right now, and
Right.
I feel like I had seen it before, but just it had been long enough that I didn't really remember exactly what happened. And so I watched it the other day, and that movie really impressed me because there were some parts that you were just laughing out loud, and then there was other parts that you were just bawling your eyes out.
That's me in Dead Poets Society with Robin Williams.
Oh yeah,
Good
it's
one.
been a while since I watched that one too.
Yeah, hilarious in some sections, and then I'm just a puddle on the ground.
Yeah.
Those are really good books. Those are really good books too. But those kind of movies, that the ones that have that comedy element that make you feel good, but then also just have the most sad moments, and they do it so well. You're just like, those are great.
Yeah.
And because you've already been in a positive headspace, and then it just utterly destroys your soul.
It stomps on you. It stomps on you.
Having that whole range of emotions. Yeah.
Yeah. It's good for your
movie,
tear
good
ducts.
movie. Yeah.
Did you say it's good for your tear ducts?
Yeah. Exercises. It works them out a little. Yeah. So wow, they're and like I feel like we've talked about so much with this book, and we could still talk about 20 million more things. There's just so many details about everything that's going on.
Yeah.
Are you guys excited about the next book?
Yeah.
I was like looking at my library to see if I needed to place a reservation for it, but we should be sweet.
Yeah. I know. I'm debating, like, I think I'm still going to check out the physical copy and then maybe supplement with the ebook, like, just to mix it up. Because I do feel like the ebook, like, especially if I'm reading it on my phone or even my Kindle, like, I feel like it goes faster because there's not as much on one page. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm going to start leaving the books until the first week of the next month.
I mean,
we're so behind. Like our poor little schedule is like so sad right now.
But like we're not able to do the lives on the first week anyway, so I'm like,
Yeah, I know. So we're doing the live on the 8th.
Hang on, I need to make sure I have. Oh, is this for
the City of Glasses? Yeah, City of Glass. I could read it that week. But I think
when are we doing our live show? I mean, our sprints though for.
I wrote down
17th for June. Book of Life, though, did we actually decide on that? I thought we did, but I guess we didn't.
Oh.
That's on your channel,
No,
Danielle.
I just wrote my channel in July, but didn't actually write any dates.
We do have our Book of Life discussion on the 12th of August, though. That is planned.
It is?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Yes. We're not doing the first week.
Is that on my channel?
That's Gish. Huh?
Yeah.
Book of Life?
Book of Life's on your channel on the 12th.
Of August.
Of August.
How did I not have this written down?
I don't know.
What the heck is happening?
We talked about it last
Oh my gosh, you guys.
So, but yeah, so everybody knows the reading sprints, the next set of mid-month reading sprints are going to be this next Friday, 17th, on Paige's channel. And then we'll have the live show discussion for City of Glass for Mortal Instruments on Paige's channel on the 8th of July. And then the live show discussion for Book of Life will be on Danielle's channel on the 12th, and we haven't figured out the July sprints yet.
Gonna be
busy.
Yeah, we'll do that. Don't worry, guys.
We'll figure it all out.
It's fine. It's totally fine.
She put hold on 4 weeks ago and still have 9 weeks left at the library. Oh, Book of Life, popular at Jean's library.
Whose channel was it on for City of Glass? Mine? Yours? Mine.
Mm-hmm. Yours. Yeah. So that's
next. I wrote down that we were having it. I didn't write whose channel it was on.
It's you.
I didn't write it either.
Yeah, so that'll be next Friday, 17th.
For sprints.
18th for Paige. And that'll be sprints on Paige's channel. What are you reading instead of Mortal Instruments next month? Well, we're reading Shadow of the Wind this month.
The Shadow of the Wind. I'm reading The Shadow of the Wind, and I'm reading The Winter of the Witch.
Mm-hmm.
Those are priorities. I would also like to finish The Prison Healer because I still haven't finished that. So, and because I just like books, I also started listening to My Contrary Mary on audiobook.
That sounds fun.
It's a Mary Queen of Scots.
By the Janes.
Yeah.
Jody Meadows, Cynthia Hand, and
yeah. My Lady Jane stuff.
Yeah. Who's the third author?
What? Wait. Are we talking about the same thing? Hold on.
Brody Ashton. That's the one.
Oh, wow. It is like multiple people. I didn't realize that.
Brody Ashton.
I've just been enjoying it.
I've heard those are a lot of fun.
Yeah, because there's the Plain Jane series, or the Jane series, where they do My Lady Jane, Plain Jane, and another one, I think. And now they're doing Mary's.
Oh, so the Jane one is already done?
Yeah.
Oh, so I started in the wrong spot. Well, that's typical.
I don't think it makes a difference.
Well, I think there's only 2 out in the Mary one. So, yeah.
My Calamity Jane, that's the other one. My Lady Jane, My Plain Jane, and My Calamity Jane are the Lady Janies. And then they're doing Mary's, which is My Contrary Mary, My Imaginary Contrary, which is due out this year. And then another one's due out next year.
Cool.
It's cool so far in the My Contrary Mary one. There's like
I've wanted to read them.
There's like 2 types of people. There's like verities, and then which are like people who can't like shapeshift, and then there's Idians or Edians, and like they turn into animals. Like,
that's cool.
It's cool. It's a cool twist on So
good audiobook?
Yeah, I like the girl. I like the lady that is doing it, doing all the voices. Yeah. It's on Scribd.
Okay.
So
Scribd's got a lot of good stuff on it.
Getting back into audiobooks because of Scribd. I'm very excited about this.
Yeah.
that page.
Woo!
You.
Yeah.
Ash and I are taken
Amy's
to
running
like
out of juice.
11 saying the word potato, but in a particular way.
What did you say? The law of potato?
The word potato.
Saying the word potato.
Well, how are you saying it?
Potato.
Potato.
Potato. It just
I
feels
can
like
just
a serotonin.
and it's very happy actually. Potato.
I love the squinchy face when you did it too. That's so good.
Potato.
Yeah.
Very nice. Well, I hope everybody has some potatoes for a meal sometime today. Some potatoes.
Can I get it up? Oh my gosh, that's so good.
See, it's a serotonin boost, I told you.
It really
Feels
is.
really good. and is get a bit of a break from Deborah Harkness before we got to dive right into the next one.
Except for me, because I still got to finish. But
Yes, except for Danielle.
it's fine.
But you can take your time now.
I'll finish.
You know, it's
And then you
good.
start the next one.
Actually, it's going to count toward Dessertathon, so I'm finishing it.
Well, and what the last part that you have, there's so much that happens in this next section that it'll go fast for you.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a
I
lot.
missed, where were you up to?
Say what?
I missed where you were up
Oh,
to.
I have 185 pages left. I'm on chapter 28.
Yeah.
So I'm into part 4, just barely.
You're
Where they're
getting
in Prague. Yeah.
Yeah. It's gonna get like
I'm getting there.
Things just get really like more and more twists start happening, more and more things start happening. So
I found it was like the last 100 pages that really shook.
Yeah, I just like that was. I mean, I know we're wrapping things up, but I think that was one little bit of a bummer was that it just took in both of these books. It has taken so long, like from the start of the book to like the actual like action, like actual
And
like
there's no
things
action in this.
happening. Yeah, yeah.
Which makes me think the third book has got to have a ton of action, right?
I hope so.
But I don't know if that's her as a writer.
Yeah.
There was a lot of action in the first one though at the end.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And it's not even, because I'm not even like a big action person, like fighting scenes or something like that. It's not that. It's
just movement.
something happening.
Mhm.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
in general in the plot. So, yeah.
Well, she does spend a lot of time setting things up. And this book, I didn't feel it as much in the first book as I felt it in this book. I love the history, I like history a lot, so I liked all that stuff, but it still didn't flow as quickly or like as smoothly for me as I felt the first book did. So, I mean, she is an incredibly detailed author, and that is her focus. But she's also a researcher, right? So it makes sense that she's like that.
Yeah. And
But it
I
changes the
can
flow.
appreciate it. I'm not,
No, and I'm just saying, it does change the flow. I agree. I totally felt that.
it's just hard, like as a reader, like
Yeah.
if you're trying to get anything, if you're trying to like feel accomplished, if you're just reading like at your leisure, it's fine.
I know.
It's fine.
Oh, I totally know. Yeah, especially because it's this month. Well, I mean, I didn't feel too rushed in reading this because I actually stuck with my 3 chapters. Once I finally set my new goals every day, I actually
that
stuck
was
with them.
smart doing the 3 chapters.
It's hard to do. Like, I know that because
I
whenever
was
I
doing like 32 pages or something.
yeah, and that I think I was towards the end. I was reading about 55 a day or 70 something a day.
Oh my gosh.
So, and
yeah, that's still
But
something that
did
has
it.
annoyed me is like the longer chapters. Like it freaking annoys me so much.
oh
They are
well,
quite
you're not
chunky.
reading City of Glass, but I was just putting together the Discord thing for City of Glass. There's only 20 chapters in that book, and it's
Stop.
500 and something pages.
Are you
So
gonna
those
check
are
in after every chapter?
no 2 chapters. I put 2 chapters at a time.
Oh, okay.
It makes 11 channels, which I think is appropriate. But that's a lot of pages per chapter.
Yeah,
A lot.
that is.
So that'll be interesting. Although I've heard that people who really like that series, this is their favorite book of the series. So we'll see.
Okay. I'm gonna spectate.
Oh, and I also set up three channels. I'm letting everybody know if they want to do Infernal Devices in July, because I think Paige, you're doing that as well. I set up 3 channels, but they need to be spoiler free because I'm not going to put chapters in them.
Yeah. Fair.
So make sure everybody, if you use it, make your little hash mark liney thingies. You know.
We know what you mean. It's fine.
It's the technical term, isn't it?
Oh,
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my goodness, thank you so much, ladies. This was
Oh.
wonderful.
So much fun.
this has been jolly good.
And look, I'm still sweating.
Oh my gosh.
That's
Jazza,
fine.
is there AC in Washington?
It's the wine, I'm telling you. Anytime I drink any alcohol. Matthew, you better appreciate this, because I just sweated through my whole life.
We're just lucky Amy still has clothes on.
Are you?
I don't know.
Yes, you are.
We just
Yes,
need to
you
be
are.
in your
Yes.
swimmers.
The ratings just went.
No.
Jean, we're so glad you were here.
Yes, Jean, thank you so much. And thank you to everybody who joined us. I'm sorry, Leanna, if we spoiled the whole thing. Well, we did.
And
We spoiled
everybody who is watching the replay, we love you. And we understand why you're not done yet.
What was that?
I have no idea.
This just fell off my desk.
Oh,
I just have
gosh.
them sitting up on a shelf. I told you I broke my desk earlier.
Oh, you have a ghost in your house, huh?
Apparently. Fuck, I'm scared now.
Mom bragging. Rude.
Leanna is like intrigued to try them.
Oh, good.
That is
Okay,
saying something. I hope you do.
That's good to hear.
hope
I
you
mean,
do
I
try 'em.
gave the first one 5 stars and this one 4.75. So obviously I'm a big fan. I recommend.
And if you do, come and like connect with us and tell us what you think.
Yeah. No, Leanna, if you do, go back and talk in the
Yeah,
discussion.
the channels are still up, so
No,
yeah.
they'll always be up, and nobody ever responds to my comments.
Oh my gosh. I need to go back and make sure
I
Amy
was
doesn't do
too
that.
busy favoriting.
Oh,
Wait, what was that page?
we need
I
all
was
the
too
help we can
busy
get,
speed
by the way,
reading to
keeping up with
respond.
comments. So
Yeah, I get it. I'm just kidding.
love
Sorta.
you, Magda.
Love you, Magda. And Mom loves your ghosts page.
Ghosts. Ghosts is
Awesome.
almost as fun to say as potatoes. Ghosts.
Ghosts.
Yep. Mhm.
That reminds me of like a Christmas carol. Ghost.
Potato.
Potato.
Oh.
Well, Paige, you've started something.
Ghost-shaped potatoes.
What's for dinner? Potatoes.
Potatoes.
This has been wonderful. Thank you, everybody. I think we're going to call it a night.
I think we should.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.